I said in the last segment that the big shell portion of the game felt like it slowed way down from the iconic tanker sequence, and I hoped the game would pick up its pace as it progressed. Well, a couple more hours in, and oh boy was that ever the case. Everything from the story to the action has ramped itself up in the sequence, and I'm totally into it. In terms of objectives, after killing Fatman and disarming his last bomb, I had to find the president who is being held hostage by the terrorists. A ninja gives me a new access card, I acquire a sniper rifle, and then venture off into the second half of the big shell. Before finding the president, I need to find Richard Ames, who can actually tell me where the president is being held. Ames helps me out and dies from an apparent heart attack, very similar to Metal Gear Solid 1 again, and then I finally make it to the president, only for him to deliver about 30 minutes of exposition about the Patriots before he demands I kill him. Raiden is a good guy and doesn't do it, but Revolver Ocelot is more than happy to oblige and shoots him dead in a heartbeat. This segment of the game excels at a few things, namely in mixing up the gameplay. In order to get to the other half of the big shell, you need to deactivate some laser-triggered bombs on a bridge. You've dealt with these before, so you know the drill, but the game makes it more complicated by making you shoot a half dozen of them, including some that are hidden in pretty clever places, and that are flying in the air. One of them is actually behind and above you, which took younger me way too long to figure out, and then there's one on top of a sentry drone, which is surprisingly tricky to hit. This is a great example of gameplay because it evolves something you've already done many times in the game to a new level and makes it more interesting. You can technically do the sequence with just your pistol or a machine gun, but you really need to get a sniper rifle to hit all of the targets. My one problem with this sniping section speaks to a problem I've noticed a few times in the game so far, and that's that the game does not always do a good job of telling you what you need to do next. I forgot there was a sniper rifle in Shell 1, and the game told me to head to Shell 2 immediately after I beat Fatman, so I didn't go back to any previous areas to find things I might have missed. This meant that I got to the bridge connecting Shell 1 and 2, where I needed to snipe all of the bombs, and I didn't have a sniper rifle. I spent a ton of ammo in my handgun and machine guns trying to hit all of the targets before realizing, oh, there's a sniper rifle I need to get. I kept trying to improve my aim when the real solution to the problem was just 3 struts back from where I was. A little later on, I put the game down and returned the next day to pick up where I left off, and when I started the game up again, I forgot the exact directive from the last time I played, and I didn't know where I was going or what I was supposed to do next. I tried using the codec to call my comrades, and they all just provided backstory to the game world in general, not a reminder of what the heck I was supposed to do. I eventually did figure it out, but I'm used to games in the current generation, I guess, where the current objective is always displayed in the main HUD or at most on a pause screen, tucked away somewhere so that I can see it at all times. There have been a couple times where I've wanted to stick a post-it note to my PS4 every time I turned the game off, just as a reminder about what I was doing next. More on the variety front, you get a directional microphone that's used to find Richard Ames. You don't know what he looks like, you don't even know he's a he, but you know that he has a pacemaker. So you get this directional microphone that you can use to listen to a bunch of hostages' heartbeats. You have to listen to which one has an electrical beep in it, and that's Ames. This directional microphone is also used for some relatively annoying cutscenes where you're listening in on conversations between some of the villains in the game, and the villains are spread out a little bit, and you use the directional microphone in real time as the sequence plays to listen to the conversation. So as the conversation goes back and forth between person A and person B, you have to kind of shift left and right to make sure that you hear everything they're saying. It's a clever trick, I guess, and the audio fades in and out realistically based on where you're pointing the microphone, which is cool. I feel like there are some Easter eggs in this game. I don't know where they are, but I feel like there are some Easter eggs where you can point the directional microphone at places where the game doesn't necessarily tell you to, and you hear weird things. I'm going to try to find that if I can as I play through the game. But yeah, the sequence is enjoyable, and you get to dress up as a terrorist in the sequence so that you're totally open for these bits. If nothing else, it's fun to be able to walk right up to some of these guards who you've been avoiding at all costs so far. The general sneaking gets a bit harder in this segment as well. I was pretty easily sneaking through most situations at this point, but my cavalier attitude towards running through most environments without a care in the world stopped working when I got caught and killed a lot here. I don't have much more to say about this, other than I finally feel like the stealth part of the game is getting more important. The interactive world is still fun to play with, and taking out guards in clever and fun ways is still a blast. We also get introduced to a new bad guy in this sequence, Solidus Snake. After an appropriately grand introduction, Solidus jumps onto a Harrier jet, and we start the only boss fight in this segment. This fight is really fun, and I love how, just like the fights with Olga and Fortune before it, the boss systematically destroys the environment around you as the fight progresses. It makes the game world feel alive in a way that's still fresh in 2019, and was positively extraordinary in 2001. Like the other boss fights, the destruction in this battle is all scripted, and the same things will break every time, but it's still really cool anyway. I'm focusing this retrospective more on the gameplay of Sons of Liberty than the story, so the last 30 minutes of the segment don't give me much to talk about. After a relatively frustrating segment where you have to find the correct air vent to pilot a remote control rocket through, again, a nice new element of gameplay, but annoying, you finally meet the President of the United States, who gives you an enormous exposition dump on everything from the Lalilule Lo to the Patriots to his role in all this. It's a ton of information to digest at once, and this is really the point in the game where Sons of Liberty starts to earn its reputation for having a cuckoo bananas story. And it just keeps going and going. I kept thinking the scene was about to wrap up, only to have the scene fade to black and then fade back to a whole new line of conspiracy madness. I'm completely on board with this game's story, and I think that what it does is pretty remarkable. But as I've mentioned a few times at this point, I can totally see how someone could sit through this cutscene and be like, what the hell is going on in this game? So now that cat is out of the bag, and things are only going to get more crazy from here on out. I hope you stick around for the next time when we continue deeper down this rabbit hole. Oh, and if you want to watch someone dive deep into the story elements, much more than I am, go check out Jay's Reviews, who did a great video on this game. It's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long. He's done Metal Gear Solid 2, as well as every other game in the Metal Gear series for his channel. I don't agree with everything in his videos, and the tone is not exactly my style per se, but the videos are really entertaining and worth your time if you want to dive a little deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching.